Thank you for having me with you, Heart and Soul. I'm Amy Steinberg, and I'm so thrilled to be with you. This is a song of mine called Power. There's a power in a seed, reminding itself how to become a tree. There's a power in a cell, and it's capable of making a you or a me. There's a power in a word, vibrating at a frequency. There's a power inside that power, inside that power is love, 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 love. And you can feel it revealed when an open, broken heart begins to be healed. It breaks like the sky when a long, dark night starts spinning on the wheel of the world. Watch it rise. Out of the ashes comes another day, a bright light shining through your eyes. So much surprise every time we fall in love, 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 love. See, we are unstoppable. Yeah, we are unstoppable just like the wind. Anything is possible from God within. The root is good in each of us here. And the nature of love is in everyone, everywhere. What? Spirit originates, spirit orchestrates, willingness, gratitude, create your fate. One power, one people under one sun. Peace, love, joy, and freedom. Love, 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 love. There's a force in the fist, but when unclenched, it ceases to exist. It shifts into light. So much freedom releases from the wrist. So insist on bliss, 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 insist on bliss and love, love, love. It's really do ba 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 da do down, love, 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 love. There's a power in a seed, reminding itself how to become that tree. There's a power in a cell, and it's capable of making a you or a me. There's a power in a word, love, vibrating at a frequency, and there's a power inside that power, and back of all that power, you know what it is. You know what it is. It's love. Thank you.
Good morning, heart and soul. I have missed y'all. It seems like it's been a while, yeah? It has been, but now y'all know why I love me some Amy Steinberg. Amy's amazing work softens my heart and reminds me of my beloved Erika Luckett. And her approach, her skill, her love, her commitment to principle. So that's where Amy intersects for me. So I'm so glad that she was able to be a part of our morning experience. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you for power. And in fact, I had a different message prepared. There was something that was on my heart, and I had already selected these two songs, but I hadn't spent time with the lyrics. And so it was in spending time with the lyrics and today's daily read from 365 days for richer living, that little combination like changed everything. So here we go. We'll get to that other talk, or maybe that wasn't really a talk. That may have just been a lesson for me. Who knows what that was? But at any rate, I have been away, and now I'm wondering why this is not doing what I'm expecting it to do. Okay. I have been away. I was in Peru for just short of a couple of weeks. And so I hadn't planned, as I said, my talk had nothing to do with that trip. But once I was listening and focusing on the lyrics and the readings and all, it came together in another way. So while there I was so busy before going that I wasn't paying close attention to the details of the trip. You know, just the itinerary very specifically in a global way. I certainly knew I was going to Cusco and I was going to Machu Picchu, and not a whole lot more than that. Frankly, you know, I knew to get packed and get ready, and I knew because I trust my dear friend Reverend Karen Fry, who owns she and Reverend Dr. Petra Weldis, who own Spirit Tours, you know, I trust so completely that I was just getting packed and going. And once there, mind blown. I was actually on the plane from Lima to Cusco when I remembered that my youngest nephew loved The Emperor's New Groove. Those of you with youngsters know that little animated number, The Emperor's New Groove. And my youngest nephew, who's now, I think, 26, but then was probably 3 or 4, and I would just, you know, how when the video would end, the DVD would end, there'd be the music on loop that could drive you crazy. But, you know, he loved it, so he choreographed to it. And so all of that came to me because The Emperor's New Groove is staged in Cusco. And that's where I was headed. And I texted him and said, I'm going to be on the lookout for the llamas and the emperor. And so I would send him a message from time to time that would say, here more llamas, still no emperor, you know. And we just had a little moment with that. But some of what was present for me while in, while in Peru comes from what we are launching for the month of May with our May theme for focused prayer, principles, and practice. You've seen it because we had it on the slide earlier. The affirmation, the theme is from good to great to grand. Let's say that together, but first, let's lock it in as an intention. Let's breathe that in, an intention of from good to great to grand. That's what we are opening ourselves to, yes? So the affirmation that we affirmed earlier is I allow my consciousness to rise to a greater and a grander realization of the divine presence. My sense is whenever we set that as an intention, something more can happen. The other reason that I wasn't really tapped into the trip and what the itinerary was and the details of it is because there were some things going on for me. I was having some work done on my home, there were some family situations, and there were things going on in Heart and Soul as well. And so I was really busy with that. And so this notion of focusing in a different way is real. And so what I've come to share with you is that religious science, Science of mind, which is the philosophy that we teach and endeavor to practice, really supports us in, now I don't know why that's up there, but I see y'all trying to make some connection in there. I'm not clear you can. So I'm just trying to put y'all at rest here and at ease around it, because I'm really trying to lay the foundation, because there's some things I'm going to share about the trip. But this is not like I went on a trip and so come hear about it. This is more, at least in my mind, it's a sense of whatever we do, we're always doing it in the context of who we be. And this notion of who we be has everything to do with the intention that we've set for our life. Now, having said that, you have set an intention either consciously and intentionally, or you just live in one. And sometimes the intention that you're living is not yours. It's not, but by conscious choice, I mean. It's clearly yours if you live in it. But what I mean is it's not necessarily yours by conscious choice. You may have just accepted Big Mama and them intention for your life, or it may not even be your life. It may have been one that they set for someone else, and you have managed to make it your responsibility to pick it up and somehow live it. And not necessarily with the whole of your life, but sometimes it's like with certain instances, certain situations and circumstances in your life, you will even be surprised at how you might respond. So the one thing that I had going on prior to going to Peru, specifically to Cusco, because the elevation is so high, and a year ago I was hospitalized with heart arrhythmia. And so I had some trepidation. Every time I prayed about it and sat with it, and the whole truth is there was a moment when I thought, I'm prepared not to go. That's what trip insurance is for. I'm prepared not to go. I knew not to call my physician and try to have a conversation, because he's not just as evolved as I need him to be around the power of intention and infinite possibility and choices and prayer and awareness. Good man. Knows, he's a professional, so he does that, but we have to meet somewhere. Is this making sense? So I left here with some trepidation, but I was working it out. I was wanting it not to be trepidation. I was wanting it to be that I would be surrendered in this and would know something. And I found myself, full disclosure, kind of sliding back and forth. There would be those times when I thought, okay, so I packed me a little elevation stuff and altitude stuff, and I didn't have to touch it. It stayed in the little Ziploc bag, and I was all right. I had to go through my own process because it's hard breathing at that elevation, and I don't remember what it is, but I have it here. Y'all probably know, because you were reading ahead. So look, its elevation is over 11,000 feet. Oakland is 43 feet above sea level. So you can sense that has a difference. That's a different experience on the body, on the heart, all of that. And now this experience also, because sometimes on my phone, when it would rain here of late, I would get a flood warning for Oakland. And I would chuckle to myself. And I thought, now I understand. I had no idea that our elevation is so low that we are so close to sea level that raises some things. So while there, what it means is that it's hard to do anything, like sometimes walking in the hotel room from one area to another, I would just be like, whew, okay. And I would then practice breathing. That's part of what I learned in this, is that there are so many resources, so much information and practice resourceful practices that this philosophy and the practice of it offers me, that's what got me through. I don't know if you really understand what I'm saying, but those places where I felt vulnerable, if I could and when I would remind myself of what I know, I would hear an affirmation come to me. Why? Because I practice affirmations and have for decades. You cannot expect an affirmation to come to you if you haven't done no affirmations. But if you have affirmations in your pocket, you can what? Reach in, get one out and go, oh, thank you, God. This is what I'm knowing, not whatever is appearing for me. Because what we practice really has the power when properly practiced to disappear the effect and replace it with the desired outcome. Now, for some folks who don't know what I'm talking about, and forgive me if this is new to you, but you need to get in here and get some of this, is because to the uninitiated, it's like magic. So you could have someone with you who doesn't understand it, who is having a different experience. They possibly are having an experience that is absolutely aligned with the appearance. While you have done the inner work, so you no longer are entranced with the appearance. You are now focused and building who you are and how you'll respond from your inner knowing. And that can be a huge difference. That can be the difference between living well and not so well. This is what I love about from good to great to grand. Because it's starting at good. Everybody doesn't. Well, I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. It's not like good is the what you call it, the starting line. There's some other stuff. It's just that we're not entertaining the bad and awful and the horrible. It's not that there aren't those who are living in an experience and interpreting it that way, holding it that way, responding to life from that. Instead, it's like, it's laid out for us. If you're in a spiritual practice that is working for you, it's laid out for you so that, if y'all can't see that because it's intentionally set that way, but I can, so that it's like, we're almost start. I'm not starting there. You pick a starting place. So we're saying start at good, unless you're already at great. Then move yourself on over to great, and then work your way to grand. I hope this is making sense. I hope this is making sense to you, because this is why with the reading and Amy's lyrics with power that I thought I've got to share with them about this, because as much as I loved it, it was challenging. And there's something about, no matter how one works it, there's something about a certain number that represents how long you've been living life. That in what we call the healing profession means that it's like there's a key number for birthdays. And from that point on, there's a different relationship. There are a different set of tests. There's a different conversation. And I really thought I thought I was going to skip that. But it's triggered in a way and so the mind really has to work to encase itself in its own belief. You got to choose for yourself. If not, you will be invited to be enslaved to a whole different idea about who you are and how you are and what you can expect. Yeah, see, I'd had a little lab test before too. And so that was on my mind as well. I'm not entertaining it, so I'm not sharing it with you, but that was on my mind as well. And I thought, no, I'm going to have to either be at the effect of it. I'm going to have I have some choices. I can be at the effect of this, or I can choose to know something. And so this was quite the learning experience. I'm going to need a certificate or a ribbon or a button or something now that I realize that this was really more than a pop quiz. This was an opportunity for me to show me, for me to see in a new practice way. Okay, so look, science of mind and spirit teaches the unity of all life, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, look at the way it just rolled off my tongue. The unity of all life, but what is that? That's something that really is happening, but only at the level of your awareness. So you can enroll or not enroll. It is true, but you don't have to experience the unity of all life. Oh, the lessons abound. Intentions and ideas flow through a field of consciousness. If you're thinking, now what's this consciousness stuff they keep talking about? Replace consciousness with awareness, just for right now. So what I'm saying is that intentions and ideas, my intentions, my ideas, flow through a field of my awareness. Yes? All right. And that awareness, whatever it is, whether it's an awareness that, my doctor has a different feel about it, or my family, or friends, or neighbors, or whatever it is, all of that, my awareness and how I file it, what I think it means, the credit I give it, the weight I give it, the degree to which I invest in it, all impresses, affects, and creates my world. My thinking, my believing, my engaging then produces my world, my experience. Now, we're all in the same room right now, but there are multiple infinite worlds right here. And although we make up and say to each other, we're having the same experience, and we often agree with each other, it's not so. We're each interpreting it and impressing it with our beliefs, our values, our vision, our view, our perspective around it. Does this make sense? Is there any question about that? Because this is central. Is there any question about that? Yes, ask it. For real. I don't fake ask question.
Do you start your life with a particular lens around that though, and can that be disrupted? Like, I'm just wondering about like what happens throughout life in terms of being able to you have an experience, but things happen, and then you start to see the world differently. And I'm just wondering, how does that factor into the?
Thank you. We're going to bring you the mic. No, not for you. Not for you, but so that everyone can hear, okay?
Maybe I could actually phrase a real question now. Okay. Okay. So I'm just wondering if you come into the world, things happen to you, and then that might cause you to see the world differently. And I guess I'm just wondering, is there like a default value thing that you can go back to? I guess I'm just wondering about like childhood trauma disruption. Like, how do you get back to like the essence, even if you weren't aware that you had it in the first place?
Thank you for that question. I'm going to take it because I heard it like two different ways. First of what I heard, and I want to check in with you at the same time. The first thing I thought I heard, this notion of coming into the world and whatever. So we're all, anybody who can hear this is well beyond the coming into the world part. So I'm going to ask that we start after that, because I mean, I know we sometimes will talk to each other like there's a clean slate or something, but it isn't. We are wherever we are, and we have to start from wherever that is. So I also want to start almost from the assumption that everybody's had some trauma. And there's no value in, there's no game that, you know, who has the most and who has the least. We all have some, and this process is going to be the same. So what I'm going to say is the most powerful tool that comes up for me in wanting to respond to this is choice. Free will that every human has on some level. Now, there are those, part of the reason we have this portrait of Mother Harriet here and that we claim her as our matron saint is because almost inherent in some of our response to having been traumatized, having had whatever has happened to us that has an imprint, a painful imprint, that our knee-jerk almost response could easily be, and we would want to have some empathy in our response to that response, that I can't do nothing. I'm wounded and I can't do anything. And there's a part of that that feels so real, and then I say, Mother Harriet, help us out. Because there's always somebody who went through something similar or worse, who didn't let it stop them, who still saw a way, who still felt empowered, maybe not in the entirety of their life, but enough to not let that kill them. There's not a one of us who hasn't had at least an experience where we could legitimately say, I could have died. I could have just died, either by choice or by tragedy, by impact, or somewhere on that continuum. But there is something in us that had us not choose that. An energetic presence, and that's what I'm wanting to talk about. Does that answer? Does that help? Yeah. So we are at choice, which is what I started. I literally considered not going. And then I thought, don't you check that insurance policy. I didn't even want in my consciousness what that was going to be, that I'd get my little refund and it would just, you know, I'd be at neutral and it would all be okay. Nobody knew I was going much, so nobody would be going to ask me. And I didn't want to have any conversation in advance of the altitude and what I was going, because I was already, look, sometimes I have to remind you, when I'm speaking to you about this, I'm not talking about my trip, I'm talking about your life. I'm just using my trip as a way to get in there. You understand what I'm saying? So don't get caught up in the trip. The trip is how we do ourselves. How we so easily can give up. How we so easily can, would you understand if I say turn tail? You know, just have all the plan, the full investment, and then in a moment of question, just be like, no, and then tell people I didn't want to go anyhow. I didn't want to do that anyhow. To protect our feelings. So what I heard in Amy's song, Power, I love that. What I heard was there's a power in a word vibrating at a frequency. And there's a power inside that power. Inside that power is love. So what we're doing is we're tapping into the core power. Or I could say tapping into the core. Either way. But we're tapping in so that we are, you know, often in meditation we talk about like there's the golden cord. And that's the tap in. We're being aligned with the truth rather than the appearance. Does this? Yeah? Okay. All right, let's see what we can do with this. So in 365 Days for Richer Living today, it's entitled, I Am at Home in the Universe Wherever I May Be. And I thought, dang it, they talking about Peru. I'm going to have one with God, one with people, one with that abiding faith that knows no fear. What I know for sure is that had I gone with the baggage that I've shared with you, some of the ideas I was considering, if I had taken that with me and meditated on it. Now, I don't mean sitting in lotus position. I mean kept my thoughts around that, kept them close to that. At every turn, if that's where I was, I would have had a different experience. My experience would have been based on the block, would have been based on the baggage, would have been based on the fear or trepidation, whatever word you choose, it's a replacement word for fear. Well, not you choose, I chose. So this idea of what today's reading is talking about, it's about believing that there is a divine presence closer to me than my very breath. This reminded me of how hard it was to breathe, how much I valued the breath and having it not hurt. Because a part of what we were doing was climbing in the ruins, the Inca Trail and such. And so there would be those times that I would have, my head would hurt. I was drinking a specific tea that they recommended and all the things because what? I'm wanting to stay engaged. Now, I had a hotel room and I could have just camped out there, but that wasn't what I chose to do, how I wanted this to unfold for me. Yes? Okay, so instead, what would happen is, with that, there'd be hard to, and then there'd be a point at which you'd be like, okay. But the guides knew this, and so it was kind of timed in. But I'm saying that this notion of there being a divine presence closer to me than my very breath, this I got so clearly because typically, running around here in Oakland at this 43-foot elevation, I don't have no thought about my breath. But almost every moment there, I don't think y'all understand. Almost every moment there in Cusco, I was aware of breathing. Those who can get it, get it. So look, Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker go on to say, looking upon the circumstances which surround me, I bless them, even what? As Yeshua blessed the bread and broke it, even as the loaves and the fishes multiplied in the outstretched and upturned hand of his love. So I know that everything in my experience that is good is multiplied and increased. Now, this is the power of our word. Everything that is good is multiplied and increased. The universe is a multiplying, increasing force. But it's either everything that's good or it's all the stuff. And so you have to be the director in your life, saying, not you. Not you, I'm done with you. It's a get thee behind me moment, isn't it? Yes? Oh, I hope this is making sense for y'all. Look at here. Oops. So there is a fortress, Sacsayhuaman, that is it translates to the royal falcon or hawk. It's a citadel. And so it's at the altitude of 12,000 some feet. And it's a steep hill that overlooks the city, and it's a fortified complex. Archaeological studies of the surface collections of pottery at Sacsayhuaman indicates that the earliest occupation of the hilltop dates to about 900 CE of the Common Era. It was clearly built by Incas, by the Inca people in the 15th century. The dry stone walls constructed of huge stones that were built on the site, where it's clear that the workers carefully cut the boulders to fit them together tightly without using mortar. Sometimes what we'd see is very much like what you'd see in Egypt, where there are designs cut in that match other designs so that they lock in place. And what we also learned is that we do not even now have the technology required to do some of that carving, given what they were carving. The granite, like there's a pink granite that I guess is just impervious to whatever it is we would do, I guess, without tearing it up, without destroying it. But in order to do some of the work that they did, I was forever in a mind blown. I mean, is the top of my head still here? Because, largely I think because I'd opened myself for healing on any level, any and all levels that were possible. I'm trying to say something. We don't have to wait for crisis. We don't have to wait for crisis. We don't have to wait for a diagnosis. We don't have to wait. We can simply be in the energetic field for healing. You don't even have to know what you're healing. Tell the whole truth, girl. You don't even have to know. You don't have to name it. You don't need the diagnosis. You don't need the prognosis. And you sure don't want to understand it. Lean not on thy own understanding. Don't even try to understand it. Get somebody. Now, if you're in a program and you're working out the treatment and all that, somebody has to support you with understanding where to be and what it is and make the choices. But if you're not there, you don't want no understanding about it for sure, because understanding is a groove, cutting consciousness. And all of us can't ungroove it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if you get to a point where you really understand it, it's you at that point. You may not be able to ununderstand it, to replace what you're understanding with another idea that will help you to stand in a more beneficial place. Does it make sense if I say it like that? Okay. In Power, Amy sings to us, you can feel it revealed when an open broken heart begins to be healed. It breaks like the sky. When a long, dark night starts spinning on the wheel of the world, watch it rise. Out of the ashes comes another day of bright light. And who here isn't seeking ever brighter light? To be their experience. So look, on April 20th, we were with a shaman, an Inca shaman, who was so meticulous in building the prayer bundle. It took so much time, and there was the Florida water, and it was all of the pieces, the sugar, the bitter, all of the pieces in nature, and he's putting it in what looks like like leaves, big leaves first, and then it's all wrapped in fabric. And it's just meticulous, but in the process, what I got, and this may or may not be true, but this is the way I'm going to tell it to y'all, is that it really didn't matter what he was doing. What it gave me was time. Focused time on the blessing and ritual that he was doing, calling in Pachamama. So while he's doing all that, I'm doing my inner work. And not even intentionally. It wasn't like, oh, I know I'm elevated and evolved, but you need to know not all the time. There's those moments that we fan the flame on that. But really, I'm there. I'm part of the group. And what I know to do is to follow the dang instruction. Just focus on what's happening. And so I don't know a word of what he's saying because he's speaking a native tongue. But I know how to focus. And let me just tell you, I was praying for family, for me, for family, and for heart and soul. By the time I got back to my hotel, a message I got from family was the thing had changed. You better ask somebody. And I haven't come today to tell you you need a shaman. What I've come today to say is you need to focus. You need to focus on whatever the prayer is. I don't know what he was saying. Somebody was translating, but you know that's hard to keep up with. Get right up in here. Right up in here, because this is what a work is going to have to happen. You have to prepare the place. They're doing what they do. You must do what you are required to do, which is to prepare the place for whatever it is you think you're calling for. You know that's simple as you can't order no refrigerator, a table, or nothing, and you don't have no space to put it. Well, you probably do. I mean, people do that. But the better way to do that would be to prepare the place so when they arrive with the refrigerator, the table, or the pair of shoes, whatever it is, you have some place already set to put it. And so it is in your life that you have a place for the healing. You have in your life, even if it's somebody else's healing. Oh, do I need to talk about that? That sometime the prayer you're praying, you're not even ready for that outcome. You're not ready for them to be healed. You're not ready for them to come home. You're not ready for, and I don't mean in your conscious mind. I mean, you are so understanding of the condition and honoring of the condition that you don't even believe that they can move past it. Okay, I know I've gone too far for some of y'all. Okay. All right. So this is April 20th. This is when I'm sitting out here with the Inca shaman and he's doing his thing. This is all that sexy one. And all of this is in clearly ancient. There wasn't a place I walked where I could not feel the presence of the divine, the ancestors, just, oh. So look, Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, not knowing that I was going to be in Cusco, Peru, wrote, I am true to the kingdom of heaven in my thought this day. You better prepare, sister, for the day. I let the kingdom of God be my basis this day. What? So see, this is part of the prep. This is why we encourage you to do the daily reading. This is why we encourage you to do the monthly book study. This is why, because you're preparing the vessel. You're training your mind, and you can't do that running up in here every few Sundays. Just saying. I'm just saying. And so this whole reading for April 20th, I opened my eyes to see God where I am. And that's what happened. There was a point at which, so we take what the package that he has prepared. Now it's just this little puffy envelope kind of thing. And he built a fire elsewhere. So we went up to where the fire pit was. And, and he puts it on there. And I thought, ooh, we're going to be here for a while. But whatever the while was, is what was needed. Is what was needed. And it didn't take nearly as long as I thought. I need you to say that it won't take nearly as long as I thought. You know, to just take that in. That sometimes we've set it in mind just that quickly. When he put it up there, I thought, ooh, this is going to take a while. Let me sit more comfortably. And then it was a close your eye moment. And I was able to do my part to make sure I was preparing the place for the shift. Into me now, they write, pours the living stream of truth. And I give it full power to act what? By means of me. Choose me, I'll go. I'll be willing to have prayer answered. Oh, Lord. I'm going to skip all that. On April 24th, we had traveled by train to Machu Picchu. And the reading for the day that we were doing the Inca Trail. And it's known, a neighbor passed the other day. And my goddaughter had a bag I brought her from Peru. And she was complimenting it, and we said, it's from Peru. And she said, oh, did you go to Machu Picchu? I said, yes. She said, did you climb? I said, yes. She said, you must be in good shape. And I was like, yes. Yeah, I know a pop quiz when I see one. Yes. Yes, I am. But look, when we got there to do it, so there are multiple levels, and we were only going to be in either the course 1 or course 2. And I had decided I was doing course 1 because I had my reasons. But some of the folks in the group, now it was obvious that you needed the course 1 because there are some folks who could not have made the other course, who could not have done it, or that would be the appearance. Well, I was going to be right with them, was my thought. And somebody said, girl, come on with us. And that I said, okay. And I thought, okay, I'm trusting. And of course, it was already planned in that there were stops along the way, and my head was going to explode, and I got used to, just bringing it down and breathing, and then we went on. And then there was a point at which we're at a high point, but there's higher points. We're at a high point, and I'm looking out, and I think you can see some of the photos there. And when I knew anything, we were on our way down. And I thought, now you see, that right there, let it go. Let it go. I'm doing my best. I hope this is working. Y'all know I'm not talking about Peru. I'm talking about your life. I'm talking about your choices. I'm talking about the upcoming doctor appointment. I'm talking about the consult to walk you through the test results. I'm talking about your meeting with your broker. I'm talking about whatever is going on in your life that you're holding as a challenge. And I'm just using as the metaphor my trek on Machu Picchu, which I'm so grateful for. I know I'll carry it the rest of my days as a thing I thought I couldn't do. As a thing had some trepidation around my health capacity. And what I got was push the envelope. Don't be stupid. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not inviting foolishness. But there really is a knower. And I was going to play it safe. And I'm so glad that I didn't. Because what? God gives to me all I am capable of receiving. Right there. My consciousness alone determines the richness or the poverty of my thinking. I am the recipient of all that God is. And today I increase my knowledge of God. This is my true source of supply. Knowing this, I open my mind to receive the inflow of spiritual inspiration. Now, spiritual inspiration, I'm believing in this, I'm just seeing this now, was the voice that said, girl, come on with us. We don't know how it's going to come. It's not going to be in the burning bush. Not likely. It'll probably be a little whisper. And you'll make a choice about whether you can step up to meet it. I open my mind to receive the inflow of spiritual inspiration, which the infinite is forever showering upon me. Some of y'all ain't even willing to get wet. shower going, you just ducking the drops. Yes. The goodness that surrounds and enfolds us and imbues us. I love to think with the ideas of spirit, which I needed along the way. Come on. I was prayerful a lot of the time. It's slippery, it's rocky, it's uneven, it's all of the reasons not to go. Unless it's yours to do and to be. So look, my beloved Amy, so grateful for her being with us. The next song that I asked her to bring for us is Surrender to the Incline. And I want you to hear it because it fits. When I put it all together, I was like, go on, girl, sing us through Peru. Part of the lyric is, up and away may not feel familiar. And the steps you're taking don't lead where you are. All the hard work you're doing is going to take you closer, near, or higher to the stars. Closer to who you are. Your spirit will not stand still. So hear it and let go of that will. Fall into the hands of time. Surrender to the incline. Please hear this from the beloved musical artistry of Amy Steinberg.
When your feet feel a shift in the road, and uphill is the only way to go, when resistance is all you can find, surrender to all seem locked, and the easy way is blocked, and that roller coaster is clicking up the climb. Surrender to the incline. Up and away the steps that you're taking, they don't lead to where you are. All the hard work that you're doing is gonna take you closer, nearer, higher to the stars, closer to who you are. See, your spirit, it will not stand still. So hear it and let go of that will. Fall into the hands of time. Surrender, surrender, surrender. The steps that you're taking, they don't lead to where you are. All the hard work that you're doing, it's gonna take you closer, nearer, higher to the stars. So when your feet feel a shift in the road, and uphill is the only way to go, when resistance is all you can find, surrender.